Phil, how is your team getting ready for the Volunteers, and just how's practice been the last couple of days?
It's been good to have a week to practice, to prepare. I'm not going to treat this game any different than any other SEC game, but I do think that it was good for us to have a week to kind of get back up on our feet and continue building in the right direction after we were at LSU.
All right, go ahead, open the floor for questions.
Yeah, Tennessee plays a really high octane offense. How do you all plan to slow that down or throw things at them defensively?
I think it's just sticking to our defensive principles. I don't think we have to change anything. We just have to do it better. And that's one of the things that we've struggled with over the last week and a half. I thought we were much more competitive defensively and offensively at LSU, but nothing changed. I didn't change our defense, or I didn't change our offense. I didn't change the kids that were playing. We just decided we were going to play with some competitive energy, and that's who we can be. So I think as we go into this game, then we can't go backwards anymore. We can't take any more steps backwards. We can't not play with that energy. We can't not play with the focus and the discipline that we did so. And there were still stretches where I felt like, we gave up easy buckets in that game. So to me, it's just making sure that we keep the main thing, that we come out here and we practice hard every day. We know what they're going to do. They know what we're going to do, but we have to play with positive, competitive, team-first energy. That's it. That's it.
Both of your teams are really focused defensively on forcing turnovers and getting steals, but also offensively, both teams have kind of all five players on the court can handle the ball. How do you kind of balance that out when you're playing a team that kind of has those similar strengths?
I think it's just making sure that we play our game, and we don't get caught up in the tempo that they want to play and the possession game that they want to play. We don't play with our hair on fire, that we stay calm and poised. So we've spent some time working on that. But part of that to me is also just maturity and confidence and being able to stay together when the things start to unravel and you feel two or three people running at you. So we practice that way as well defensively. So it's not like we haven't done this all year long in one way or another. I'm excited to see how we do that and for how long we can do that on Sunday, because I think we can. I've seen it in practice this week. But most of that you're talking about is just sticking to the style of basketball that you play, knowing what your strengths are and your teammates' strengths are, and then staying poised and calm and together during the moments where it can feel a little hectic.
Tennessee being a team that's so different from a lot of the other teams you guys play in the SEC, has there been any differences in how you guys have prepared for them, or is it just kind of business as usual as it would be for any other opponent?
I think it's business as usual. I think we do a really good job of scouting and making sure that we put our players in position to not be surprised by what teams do. So, for instance, with LSU and offensive rebounding, that kind of thing, you got to work on it to some degree. But honestly, that's most teams in the SEC are defensive minded, are going to hound the offensive glass, are going to try to run in transition. In that way, they're no different. They do play a faster pace than most teams in the SEC, but this is not something that we're going to prepare for. We're going to spend time preparing for other teams. We got to prepare to be ourselves while showing them this is what you're going to see. Does that make sense? We got to do both. So we got to focus on playing our game, but then also we have to do it within this context on Sunday. So that's what we've been doing this week.
Last year when you were at Virginia Tech for March Madness and Kim Caldwell was also there with Marshall, did you talk to her there at all or know her beforehand?
I don't know her at all before she was hired here. Obviously knew of her season and her getting her team to the NCAA tournament, and obviously watched them play, which was really cool. But I did not meet her in person until the SEC meetings. She's great, like most of the coaches in our league. They're all nice people, and we're all trying to pull together to move our league forward. But she's done a really good job, has in position to do some great things.
Madison Green was granted another year of eligibility by the NCAA. How big is that for you guys and for her?
It's huge. She's basically a freshman now, a year and a half into school. So it's great. I think more than anything, it's just a weight lifted off of her shoulders. We've been waiting for this decision for a while. So now she knows what her future looks like, and she can just focus on continuing to improve on the basketball court, do what she needs to do in the classroom. And I think she's pretty excited to get another year with Michaela too.
How big is that for you as a coach, just kind of knowing now that you have that extra year with a player that's been in this program and has really also stepped up and played a role for you guys?
It is comforting for sure, but for me, I just think it was the right thing. It was the right move. I thought she deserved it. I'm glad the NCAA came down with the decision because any other decision would have been disappointing. So I'm happy for her. I'm happy for any athlete in the future that has a situation like she had where the precedent has been set now for them to be able to recover and get the full experience.
All right, Coach.
Talk about this, the SEC schedule and just kind of build up. It's toward March Madness and everything. It's just brutal out there every week. Isn't it?
Yeah, but I like it. I think there's always going to be a perspective that you can look at that's going to have a pro and con. When I was at UConn, it was that our conference was soft and we're not going to get prepared. And now it's in the SEC. Well, you guys beat each other up, so you're not going to be prepared. And you can't have it both ways. If I had to choose one, I would rather know where my team stands in moments of like distress. Like, who are we when the chips are stacked up against us? Can we do the things we have to do to compete with the best teams in the country who are in our conference? So I think, I don't know that it could be laid out any better for you to have a competitive March Madness team than if you play in the SEC.
And do you know your team's personality at this point, or is that still evolving?
Yeah, it's evolving. It's always evolving. They're kids, right? It's always evolving. I'm challenging them to take on more of my personality. And not that that's, I want them to be who they are and have individualized, like be able to express themselves individually. But this requires a certain level of intangible qualities. And a lot of these kids, when they get here, those still need to be developed, right? They still have to be developed. And a lot of times the way that you learn, we could talk about all the great wins that we've had since we've been here, or even some of the great performances we've had this year. But you learn the most when you get smacked. That's when you learn the most about who you really are, and that's how you can build up to who you want to be. I truly believe that, and I think that's kind of where we are right now. We've learned these things about ourselves, and now what are we going to do with them?
Hey, Coach, we'll appreciate your time. Best of luck
Thank
on
you,
Sunday.
guys.